Pretty good. How you doing?
Pretty good. Which is a good time of year. It means autumn's here. Leaves are changing. There's a lot of cooler weather, nice weather and stuff. So a little break from the heat.
We are going to require more power for things like AI, cryptocurrency, and electrical vehicles and appliances.
You heard a lot. We talked a little bit about cryptocurrency. Everybody wants to buy and sell through the blockchain, secure exchange and stuff, but that takes a lot of power too. And if that's going to increase, that's going to be another demand, kind of like AI. It's going to be surging more and more if the more and more people use cryptocurrency like Bitcoin.
And natural gas is another one, because everything will have to go electric at that point. So, sure about the school buses, like how they want to make all the school buses electric, and those cost a lot of money, and that's a lot of power too.
We talked about how it would be a big mistake to make heavy vehicles electric as well because of the inefficiencies there. We support hydrogen for the big, huge vehicles like that because of the payloads they can carry. So
we could build clean coal plants to provide for the electricity, even though they cost a lot of money.
Yeah, well, I think what they could do is build these clean coal power plants. They should do those because those are already set up to capture the carbon dioxide. Right. Even though they cost a lot, these plants aren't cheap. But we were talking about nuclear too.
Right. I think we're big fans of nuclear.
Yeah, there's several billion apiece. But if climate change is that important, then I think they would do that.
Integrated gasification and combined cycle coal plants create synthesis gas that provides for an efficient power plant that captures the carbon dioxide.
Well, let's talk about several billion of cost. There's another thing you were talking about called the IGCC. There's another concept. What is that?
It's called integrated gasification and combined cycle. And so what it has is two turbine systems. So what they do first is they gasify the coal. And when you gasify it, you don't combust it directly like you do in regular coal plants. You indirectly heat it, and it gives off synthesis gas. And that synthesis gas can then be combusted cleanly, and it will produce. It can be combusted, and it will drive a turbine, and then you can recover the heat from that, and then turn that into steam and drive another one. And so that they say that gives at least a 60% power plant efficiency.
That's amazing, there.
That's really good. And the way they do it is that they treat the synthesis gas ahead of time with steam so that you can capture that carbon dioxide, and so it won't be a problem.
IGCC polygeneration plants not only create electricity but manufacture many other products and could create more industry.
But the power of these plants is the synthesis gas, because you can have what are called polygeneration carbon capture or IGCC plants, and they can do more than just create electricity. They can produce a lot of other gases like methane and hydrogen, and then they can produce chemicals and for vehicle fuels as well.
There you go.
So you can make a chemical industry and you can get your fertilizer from it too. So
that's right. Yes, urea is
ammonia and urea. Yeah, so you can make those from these coal plants. So you can get a lot of products from these IGCC plants. So I think it's well worth the investment, especially if you can create other industries from it.
You just talked about a lot. If you're creating, vehicle fuels, if you're creating other chemicals, that's in itself is a big deal right there. Plus you're capturing the the CO2 and using it for other things.
In addition to industry, whole communities could be built from the use of clean coal IGCC plants.
Yeah, I was telling you a while ago when I was doing research on these plants like 10 years ago, and I ran across this document from the Shell oil company, and they talked about all the good things that could come from these IGCC plants, and they had a publication that said we were going to build a big one in China, and because we're building it there, we're going to create a community. We're going to create community from scratch, and we're going to offer all these industries to them, and it's going to create a lot of jobs. So I don't see why we couldn't do that here.
That's right. You could put it out somewhere and create your own 15-minute city based on that industry, kind of like how they used to do the mining industry back here in the old days. So I mean, there'll be a lot of jobs, a lot of businesses created from that, from all the products that they're making. Can we also create hydrogen in these plants?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So
that's when they.
there you go.
Yeah. These IGCC plants make. They can make natural gas too, methane too, but they can make hydrogen. So instead of like using that oil underground, you could have a circular economy. You know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
You could recycle that carbon dioxide and make the same things you do with petroleum. You know, to make your materials, and use the carbon dioxide instead.
After capturing the carbon dioxide, the IGCC plants can create hydrogen and use the two to make chemicals and vehicle fuels.
Yeah, you mentioned a lot of what we can do with the CO2 in making other chemicals. What did y'all say there? There's some more things you do with after you synthesize the gas. If you get hydrogen and carbon dioxide, you can make even more things, right?
Yeah, so like I said, the coal plants can make hydrogen. They can compress that. They could make some carbon dioxide and compress it. And when you combine the two together, either from like you do a fermentation system, or you have an electrochemical system where you add a little bit of electricity in, then you can make all types of chemicals. You can make vehicle fuel, like I said, chemicals. Like some of the ones that you can make, I was thinking of the common ones they usually make are like methanol and dimethyl ether, like from synthesis gas. But you can make it from carbon dioxide and hydrogen as well. You can make chemicals like acetic acid, polyethylene glycol, propanol, ethanol again, and then formic acid, like butanol.
We can capture that carbon dioxide from the coal plants and use it in industries such as greenhouses, cement, algae, and welding.
There's other things they could use too for the CO2. Like there's industries like the greenhouses all across this country where they grow vegetables and all other kinds of things.
Yeah, tell them about our brother there.
Our brother has a greenhouse?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, why don't you tell about the brother? No, our brother has a greenhouse too. And so in order to grow inside the greenhouses, which is kind of a contained environment, you have to pump CO2 into the greenhouse, right? Well, most growers use natural gas. They just burn natural gas to get the CO2 up to a certain level, and the sensors shut it off. And so seems to me that's a sort of a waste too, when you got industries that are trying to capture carbon dioxide and then pump it underground. Why don't they capture that carbon dioxide and sell that to some of the greenhouses?
I think that would be a great idea, man. That would be good. And what you're saying, like with cement industry, like you could do some things with that, like.
Yeah, can you put it in cement? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, you can. If you put it in cement and you combine it while they're doing that process, that would kind of capture it as well. That'd be a good idea, right? I mean, that's another one. You used to grow algae, right, in a company. They can use CO2 for that too, right?
Yeah, that's the main way of growing algae is you need a carbon source, and that carbon source is carbon dioxide most of the time.
Bing, there's another one. So
I used to work for this, like I said, this company, and I talked to the chief executive officer, and he was telling me, he goes, the algae industry isn't picking up a lot right now, but the day that they capture the carbon dioxide from these plants and they compress it and they distribute it, it's really going to take off. So that's what he was saying. And this was like it's been that way for a while. They've known this for a long time. It's just that they haven't, and you can make a lot of things out of algae, but that's just one example. Like
the algae industry is kind of increasing because there's a lot of uses for it right now. So especially for development of food for animals and other things. So, another industry, I do a little welding, and some of my friends are professional welders, and they have, what do they have? They have CO2 tanks, for some of their MIG welding, and it seems to me that instead of buying it from a source where they produce it from natural gas or whatever burning they're going to do, that you buy it from a place that's capturing it. That would make a lot of sense to me too. So there's a lot of industries that need CO2. So let's not make CO2 out of our natural resources. Let's capture and reuse the CO2, because we don't, instead of pumping it in the ground, maybe we can pump some in the ground, but let's try and reuse a lot of it too. Makes sense for a circular economy, like you're saying.
Clean coal energy and reusing the carbon dioxide for a circular economy would be the way to go until something better comes along.
Do you think they'll listen to us? I think they'll try and do some of these things.
I think it would be a good idea. I mean, that's something they should review. I think, it's going to cost a lot of money, but I mean, look at the advantages of it. I think, I think we're going to need fossil fuels for a while, and like you said, if we recycle this carbon dioxide, the less and less fossil fuels we'll need to make,
Right.
because we're recycling that carbon.
Yeah.
And the less, I think then we can look for other solutions without having to change the land, destroy the land to make these large wind farms and solar farms and all that.
Yeah. Well, we're all about recycling. We love that. We're big fans of recycling. I just don't think that our country is very good at recycling right now. We're, as far as I can tell, Europe's way ahead of us in recycling. So we need to do that. And CO2 is one of the things we could try to be the leaders on. We could try to show the way on this. That's another way to reuse and recycle. So circular economies, man.
Yeah, circular economy.
So we can reduce our CO2, yet we can provide all the necessities of life. All right, man. Okay, so until next time, we're the Climate Change Brothers. We're here to educate as much as we can. So,
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.